projectile
from the Oakland Police Department.
From the Oakland Police Department.
Scott Olsen has been in the hospital for the last 2 days because of a fractured skull and because of a fractured skull and it has been heavily sedated up until more recently. We are here because nobody should have to deal with these circumstances. Veterans, civilians, or any other victims of police brutality. We have an update on Scott's condition. He is conscious. He is able to write. And it looks like he will not need surgery. Behind me, I have members of Iraq Veterans Against the War. Veterans for Peace. And other occupiers that have walked in solidarity with Scott. I'm going to introduce you to Josh Shepard, a 6-year Navy veteran. But before I do that, I'm going to have our friends hand out posters of Scott Olsen. Mic check. Right now we have posters of Scott Olsen that we're going to hand out. If you could all hold them up. We have posters of Scott Olsen. If you could hold them up, we'd appreciate it. And candles, obviously. I'm going to introduce you to Josh right now. He's going to speak about... I'm going to introduce you to Josh right now. He was with Scott the night of Scott's injury. And is also a member of Iraq Veterans Against the War. And Veterans for Peace.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm so happy to see you guys out here.
I'm so happy to see you guys out here.
For all those that were out here Tuesday night,
For all those that were out here Tuesday night,
you saw the terrible circumstances that took place.
you saw the terrible circumstances that took place.
It was another in a long line
It was another in a long line
of incidents in
of
the
incidents
city of violence against citizens.
of violence against citizens.
I want you to recognize
I want you to recognize
the power of nonviolent action.
the power of nonviolent action.
While we were up there,
While we were up there,
waving our peace signs,
waving our peace signs,
dancing around,
dancing around,
it silenced
it silenced
the police.
the police.
They cannot do anything.
They cannot do anything.
They cannot touch you.
They cannot touch you.
And the media cannot play their dirty tricks.
And the media cannot play their dirty tricks.
Revolutions
happen
when police and military join the people. I want you folks to remember that. And practice restraint. The next time the city's administration takes actions such as Tuesday nights. Regime change starts at home. Thank you.
We have solidarity vigils. In different Occupy movements. Across the country. Across the world. We know of more than a dozen. Including Chicago, New York City, Austin, Texas, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and San Francisco, California. The next speaker is Claire Chadwick. She helped Scott. He was immediately hit in the head with a police projectile.
Hello. Bear with me, I'm partially losing my voice. My name is Claire Chadwick, and I was with Scott in the protest on Tuesday. I don't personally know Scott. But we were band together in solidarity. On the front lines of the protest. The police are saying that the protesters started it. And I can tell you that that's not true. There was nothing to provoke the police. When they started tear gassing their citizens. When the first tear gassing happened, everyone ran. I looked around, and I was the only one there. I took a picture of the tear gas to document what had happened. I looked down to my left and saw Scott laying on the ground not moving. I immediately ran to him and turned him over. He was bleeding from the mouth. His eyes were rolling in the back of his head. I screamed to the police for medical assistance. They did not give it to me. To Scott, rather. Instead, 10 or so people came to help me carry Scott to safety. Away from all of the tear gas and all of the danger. We were all shouting for medical assistance. And instead of giving us that, there was a flash grenade thrown into the crowd. I am in shock that that is how the events played out.